Picture an island that once a year transforms into a living red carpet. 40 million creatures simultaneously emerge from hiding and begin their march to the ocean. Roads shut down, people stay home, and all life comes to a standstill. This isn't science fiction or the apocalypse. This is the red crab migration of Christmas Island, one of the most massive natural phenomena on the planet. Christmas Island sits lost in the Indian Ocean, 220 miles south of Java. It's a tiny piece of land covering just 52 square miles, but its story began 60 million years ago when the peak of an underwater volcano rose 16,000 feet from the ocean floor and broke through the water's surface. Over millions of years, coral reefs grew on the basalt core, gradually forming a limestone cap. The island rose from the sea several times, and each rise left behind steps, terraces, and inland cliffs that today shape the island's unique terrain. On these terraces, in limestone cracks and beneath the tropical forest canopy, live red crabs, the species Gecarcoidea natalis. They're endemic to Christmas Island, meaning they exist nowhere else on the planet. Their population is estimated at 43.5 million adult individuals. Red crabs spend most of their lives in complete solitude. Each crab lives in its own burrow, dug into the forest floor. Burrow density reaches 1 or 2 per square metre. During the dry season, crabs are almost inactive, hiding in their shelters and waiting. They're waiting for rain. When the rainy season begins in October or November, something incredible happens. All the crabs simultaneously leave their burrows and begin moving toward the coast. This isn't chaotic wandering, but a precisely coordinated march. Scientists have determined that crabs move in practically straight lines. Moreover, most crabs from across the island head not to the nearest shore, but specifically to the northwest coast. They seem to follow an invisible compass built into their bodies. The migration speed is impressive. The maximum recorded distance travelled by one crab in a day was 4,800 feet. But average speed ranges from 1,100 to 2,200 feet per day, depending on how late the rainy season started. If the rains came early, crabs take their time. They stop for 1 to 7 days along the way, feeding on fallen leaves and flowers, building up strength. But if the rains are delayed, a rushed migration begins. Crabs race directly to shore because they have a hard time constraint. This constraint is set by the moon. Female red crabs lay their eggs strictly during the last quarter of the lunar cycle, before dawn on the receding tide. And the crabs know exactly when they need to emerge from their burrows to make this date. This is a remarkable navigational ability. Males arrive at the shore first. They dig burrows on the coastal terraces and a real battle begins. Burrow density here is so high that males fight each other for the right to the best spot. Winners get territory and wait for females. When females descend to the coast, mating occurs, usually in the privacy of the burrow the male has secured. After this, males quickly leave the shore and return to the forest, covering the return journey in just 1 or 2 days. Their mission is complete. Females remain in burrows for another 12 or 13 days. During this time, they carry eggs in a special brood pouch under their abdomen. Each female carries up to 100,000 developing eggs. This is an enormous burden for a creature the size of a human palm. When the eggs mature, females emerge from burrows at night and head to the water. They wait for the precise moment, the turn of the tide in the last quarter moon. And then, just before dawn, millions of females simultaneously release their eggs into the ocean. The eggs instantly burst on contact with seawater. Clouds of tiny larvae swirl near shore before waves and the receding tide carry them out to open sea. This is the moment of truth for the future generation of crabs. Larvae spend 3 to 4 weeks in the ocean. During this time, they go through several developmental stages, gradually transforming into shrimp-like creatures called megalopae. But the vast majority of larvae will never return to land. They're eaten by fish, planktivorous animals, manta rays, and massive whale sharks that specifically swim to Christmas Island at this time of year to take advantage of the annual feast. The ocean becomes a giant dining hall, and crab larvae are on the menu. Surviving megalopae gather in coastal pools for 1 or 2 days, then molt and transform into full-fledged baby crabs. Their size is just 1/5 of an inch, but they're already ready for the journey, and they begin their march inland. This return march takes about 9 days. Millions of tiny red dots crawl over rocks, climb cliffs, cross roads. They move toward the plateau, to the safety of the forest, where they'll spend the first 3 years of life hiding in crevices and under fallen branches. During this period, young crabs are practically invisible. They grow slowly, molting several times as they develop. Adult crabs molt only once a year, usually in the safety of their burrow. They reach sexual maturity at around 4 or 5 years old. It's at this age that crabs first join the annual migration, and from this moment, they'll repeat this journey every year for the rest of their lives. Their lifespan, by various estimates, ranges from 12 to 30 years. But red crabs do much more for the island than just migrate. They're a keystone species, an ecosystem engineer. Most of the year, crabs live in the forest and feed on fallen leaves, fruits, flowers, and seeds. By processing leaf litter, crabs return nutrients to the soil. They control the amount of seeds and seedlings on the forest floor, determining which plants can grow. By digging burrows, they aerate the soil, improving its structure. Research shows that red crabs literally shape the appearance of Christmas Island's tropical forest. Without them, the forest would be completely different. Their activity affects vegetation composition, nutrient cycling, and even the microclimate of the understory. But this perfect system has enemies, and the most dangerous one was accidentally brought by humans. This is the yellow crazy ant, Anoplolepis gracilipes, one of the 100 most dangerous invasive species in the world. These ants arrived on Christmas Island, presumably in the 1990s, most likely with cargo ships. They quickly created massive super colonies, numbering billions of individuals that work as a single organism. Yellow crazy ants got their name for their chaotic, erratic behaviour, but their method of killing crabs is highly effective. When a crab encounters a group of ants, they surround it and begin spraying formic acid directly into its eyes and breathing pores. The crab goes blind, suffocates, and dies in agony. By 2002, ants had killed 10 to 15 million red crabs, roughly 1/4 to 1/3 of the entire population. Entire sections of forest became empty. Island authorities began an ant control program, dropping bait laced with the insecticide fipronil. In 2003, 12 tons of poisoned fish meal were dropped. This helped reduce ant numbers, but they began recovering. The fight against yellow crazy ants continues to this day. Their impact on the red crab population remains one of the main threats to the island's ecosystem. But ants aren't the only problem the crabs face. Human infrastructure also creates serious obstacles. Christmas Island was annexed by Britain in 1888 due to rich phosphate deposits. Mining began that continued for over a century. To service the phosphate operations, workers were brought to the island from China, Malaysia, and India. Many of them worked in horrifying conditions. In the first 5 years of mining, from 1900 to 1904, over 500 Chinese workers died from beriberi due to inadequate nutrition. Gradually, infrastructure grew on the island, roads, settlements, and every year when crab migration begins, these roads turn into deadly traps. thousands of crabs die under car wheels, despite all precautions. But island authorities made an unprecedented decision. During migration, roads are completely closed for days and weeks. Vehicle traffic stops so crabs can safely cross the pavement. This is a rare example of human activity yielding to a natural cycle. Moreover, over 30 special crab bridges and underground tunnels have been built on the island. These structures allow crabs to cross roads without descending onto the roadway. One of these bridges has become a genuine tourist attraction. The marketing manager of the Christmas Island Tourism Association once stated that Sydney might have the Harbour Bridge and San Francisco the Golden Gate Bridge, but their Crab Bridge attracts tourists from around the world. And it's true. During migration, the island transforms into a red carpet of moving shells. Crabs follow the most direct route from their burrows to the coast, covering roads, golf courses, and beaches. The spectacle is mesmerising and simultaneously slightly frightening. But this natural wonder faces a new threat that can't be stopped with bridges or road closures. Climate change is beginning to affect migration timing, and this could have catastrophic consequences. Droughts are becoming more frequent and prolonged. If the rainy season is delayed, crabs can't begin migration on time. Remember that spawning date is rigidly tied to the lunar cycle. Females must lay eggs in the last quarter moon. In 2023, an event occurred that alarmed scientists. Migration began only in February, the latest start since the 1980s. Crabs simply couldn't emerge from burrows without rain. When migration begins late, crabs are forced to rush to shore without stops, without the ability to feed along the way. They arrive at the coast exhausted. Females lay eggs later than the optimal time, and larvae enter the ocean under less favourable conditions. This reduces survival of the new generation. If climate shifts continue, the red crab population may begin declining, and this will trigger changes throughout the island's ecosystem, since crabs play a key role in nutrient cycling. There's another little-known fact about red crabs. Their internal navigation system is so precise, they can determine how far they are from shore during migration. Research has shown that crabs adjust their speed depending on distance. If they know the shore is far away and there's enough time, they make feeding stops. If time is short, they go directly. This means crabs possess a kind of internal map of the island and can estimate distances. Scientists still don't fully understand how this navigation system works. Perhaps crabs orient by ocean smell, by Earth's magnetic field, or by some other signals we can't yet detect. But one thing is clear. Red crab migration isn't just a beautiful spectacle for tourists. It's a highly complex biological mechanism honed by millions of years of evolution. It's an example of how a species can perfectly adapt to its habitats. Red crabs synchronize their lives with lunar cycles, with tides, with rainy seasons. They transform the island into a single living organism where every element connects with others. Forests depend on crabs depend on the ocean depends on lunar cycles. And humans are embedded in this system. Christmas Island residents have learned to live by the crab schedule. They know when to stay home, when not to drive on roads, when it's time to respect nature more than their own convenience. This is a lesson for the entire world. In an era when humans strive to control every aspect of nature, Christmas Island shows that sometimes the best solution is to step back and let nature do its work. Crab bridges and closed roads aren't just infrastructure solutions. They're recognition that red crabs have as much right to this island as people do. More than that, their role in the ecosystem is irreplaceable. Programs to control yellow crazy ants continue. Scientists are looking for ways to protect crabs without harming other species. This is a difficult task because Christmas Island is a unique ecosystem with high levels of endemism. Besides red crabs, dozens of species live here that exist nowhere else on the planet. Every human intervention must be carefully calculated to avoid creating a new ecological catastrophe while trying to prevent an old one. Tourism has become an important part of the island's economy. Thousands of people come here every year, specifically during crab migration. They want to see this natural wonder with their own eyes, walk on bridges over the Red Stream, photograph shells covering every inch of ground. This tourist interest creates economic incentive to protect crabs. Authorities understand that red crabs aren't just part of the ecosystem, but a valuable resource that generates income. And this is good because economic arguments often work better than ecological ones. But there's also danger. Too large a tourist flow could disrupt migration. People, even with good intentions, might accidentally crush crabs, create obstacles in their path, cause stress to the animals. Balance is needed between accessibility and protection. Island authorities are working on this balance. Rules are being established for tourists, access zones are being limited, educational programs are being conducted. The goal is for people to observe migration without interfering with it. Scientific research on red crabs continues. Scientists use radio beacons, tagging and recapture methods, satellite observation. Each year brings new data on behaviour, population size, and crab routes. This data is critically important for understanding how climate change affects the population. Only with accurate information on numbers, survival rates, and migration timing can effective conservation strategies be developed. One of the most intriguing questions is why most crabs head specifically to the northwest coast rather than the nearest shore. Scientists speculate this may be related to spawning conditions, currents that better distribute larvae, or historical factors. Perhaps at one time the northwest coast offered better conditions for larval survival, and this genetic memory became fixed in crab behaviour. Or maybe there are fewer predators there, safer terrain, more convenient water access. Whatever the case, this behavioural feature makes migration even more vulnerable. If something happens to the northwest coast, if infrastructure is built there, or pollution occurs, it will affect most of the population. Protecting key coastal areas is a priority for conservation organisations. A significant portion of the island has already been declared a national park, providing legal protection for critical habitats. But laws only work when they're enforced. Christmas Island is Australian territory, and Australia invests resources in protecting its unique nature. But this may not be enough. Global threats like climate change don't recognise national park boundaries. Droughts, rising temperatures, changing precipitation patterns all affect the island regardless of its protected status. Therefore, the future of red crabs depends not only on local efforts, but on global action to combat climate change. This is another example of how the fate of a small island in the Indian Ocean is linked to decisions made in capitals around the world. The story of Christmas Island's red crabs is a story about ecosystem fragility, about the complexity of natural connections, about how one invasive species can destroy millions of years of evolution. But it's also a story about hope. The Christmas Island red crab migration is one of the most massive and synchronized natural phenomena on the planet. Red crabs are a keystone species, shaping the tropical forest's appearance. They face threats created by humans, from invasive ants to climate change. But humans are capable of protecting this wonder when they understand its value. Subscribe to the channel to learn more about our planet's amazing ecosystems and how we can preserve them. Leave comments, share your opinion. What do you think about human and nature coexistence? Is it possible in the modern world, or are we doomed to conflict? Your opinion matters.